Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Make the Most of the new LoadSpring Cloud Platform 8.0.4. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. In order to make this a more dynamic webinar, we encourage you to please submit text questions to today's presenter via the questions pane on the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the webinar presentation. We will answer them via text or during the Q&A session at the end of today's webinar. Now, I would like to introduce Warren Krueger, EVP of Customer Experience at LoadSpring. So, with more than 22 years of experience, Warren specializes on improving project, program, and portfolio management through the LoadSpring Cloud Platform. He joined LoadSpring after launching implementation services practice for Microsoft and Critigen. A true believer in the project-based organization, he has implemented project management solutions for industries such as automotive, pharmaceutical, financial, IT, manufacturing, military, and government. Warren also developed and led PMOs for several Fortune 500 companies. Good morning, Warren.
Hey, good morning, Christian. Thank you for that introduction. We're going to have fun today. I appreciate everybody taking time out to learn about getting more from the LoadSpring platform. Taking a look, wow, we got people from all over. Hello, James, Jeff, I see you there. Michael from Dallas, thank you for joining. Want to have some fun today, take a little bit of time. I'm going to jump to our topics that you see on your screen. We're going to spend some time discussing this latest release, 8.0.4 of the LoadSpring platform. I'm going to demonstrate a few items that are new, some enhancements that you may not be aware of, and then share a tip and trick that we're starting to get more mileage out of, and we would like to float questions to this audience related to if we should add additional applications to things like advanced user provisioning. And then I'm going to share what's coming in the next release, 8.05, and we're going to crowdsource some of what's coming in the next release, because I will be putting up a couple polls and asking you to participate and tell us what is most critical or important to you as administrators of the LoadSpring platform. So we did create today's content focused on company administrators or site administrators for the LoadSpring platform. So if you're not an admin, you're welcome to still listen in, but just to share with you up front, that is going to be our focus for today's webinar. All right, let's dive in here. So several enhancements in the latest release, 8.0.4. Now, not every one of you is on this release. Some organizations who are in private clouds have a different update cycle. So you may not be on 8.0.4 yet, but if you are, here is what you are able to experience today. A new customer profile report. I'm going to show you that and we'll discuss it. A new user soon to expire report. What this does is email out to administrators, users who expiration date is approaching within a 2-week window. We then have several enhancements, 6 of them that I'll just drill in and demonstrate instead of going through the list here. So with that, I'm going to jump out of PowerPoint. And by the way, we did make these slides available for you to download. You'll see in the handout section you can download these slides as a PDF. But what I'm going to do is start with the new customer profile report. And how this came about is we had a customer say, "Hey Warren, I don't really have visibility into what my uptime performance level is, or how many support cases month to month people are raising, maybe how many LoadSpring Academy videos are people watching." So they wanted kind of a consolidated view of their footprint in the LoadSpring Cloud. So what we did was we added a new report, And for those of you who have admin access, you'll see the reports module here. And I'm going to click on this new profile report that you see here at the bottom. And this shows kind of a consolidated list of your organization's footprint. It deals with items such as how long have you been a customer, where's your primary data center and secondary or failover data center located, your SLA uptime. Most of you will be either 3 nines or 4 nines. And by the way, uptime is defined as time that the systems are running, not counting scheduled maintenance. So scheduled maintenance does not go into the uptime calculation. It shares what type of private or what type of cloud environment you're working in, whether it's private. We are showing how many databases are housed in this environment for you. And we're going to add additional attributes to this. We're also going to add things like number of servers that are supporting you in your cloud environment here at LoadSpring. How many assigned application users, how many support cases per month, how many Academy videos have viewed. So you get a feel who's your sales rep. So that is the first kind of new area. We would like your feedback. I will ask you to go ahead and, if you'd like to see additional attributes added to this, feel free to raise a support request, or you can just use the questions panel here in the control panel for GoToWebinar, and my team is standing by collecting these ideas so that we can get them into the queue. All right, the next item is this user soon to expire report. So this is an email, and for those of you that apply expiration dates to your users, you might be surprised if, let's say, a project is ending, you've got 50 users that are going to be expiring, and the project gets extended, and you didn't know, and people can't get in because their accounts have expired. Well, now you're going to get this email notification. This comes out once a week, and we look back 2 weeks, or excuse me, we look forward 2 weeks for which users are going to be expiring, so that you can either at least be alerted and make notifications. Now, you'll only receive this if customers are expiring, and this is this requires you to actually use the expiration date on a user. So I'm going to jump back to the platform. I'm going to show you that. If I just go to the Users tab here, and you can select any user, open up that user, you'll see if you're actually using the expiration date. So I've selected Aaron Baima here. He's the top user, and I can click this account expires dialog and then enter an expiration date. And this is helpful for organizations that have projects coming to an end and they don't want to forget to go disable a user after the project has been completed. This will auto disable that user based on that date. So that's the purpose of the auto expiration. If you're not using this auto expires, you will not get that email notification. Okay, so those are two of the new areas. Jumping back, let's now talk about LoadSpring Insight. So users who are using our LoadSpring Insight dashboard capabilities know that this is displaying data out of your applications that we host here in the LoadSpring Cloud. And in this case, it's displaying cost information from an application, a project cost accounting platform called Aries Prism G2. And the request is, hey, it's great that you're showing dollars. We'd also like to display the S-curve in hours as a unit because our organization deals a lot more with hours. So what we've done is enable now through the LoadSpring Insight solution to toggle with a button. So I'm pulling up the connectors right now, and I'm going to click on this project called Carlsbad Point, and it's going to render the S-curve here. You'll see a new icon that looks like a clock. Now, what I can do is highlight this real quick. Try to draw this with a highlighter. But if you look at this clock that you see on the screen, this is a toggle button that allows you to toggle between you know, the different units. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And you'll see that the S-curve now renders in hours. So that's a new capability. It only affects the organizations who are using our Insight platform for dashboarding. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's a top-down executive-style viewing mechanism that pulls data, schedule, and cost performance data out into a presentation layer that, you know, gives you quick status without requiring an end user to be a full functional user of an application, launch the app, and then go in and look at this reporting information. All right. The next enhancement was one that's been requested for a while. I'm going to demonstrate this one to you. But the request is, hey, it's nice when I have a user enter a support request, I receive this email notification. And this notification has information about the case. I then can quickly look at that and see if I can call the user and resolve it. Well, in certain cases, you might want to navigate to that request directly. So now, in that email notification, when a case is assigned to you or someone updates the case, you'll see a link that says, please log into LoadSpring. This LoadSpring is a hyperlink that now will navigate you directly to the support case in question. And so what we can do is well, I'll tell you what, I actually have one open. I'm going to just share my entire screen and pull up a example of an email. You'll see here this email came in to me. It was notifying me that the case had been assigned to me, and it's asking me to log in. So if I just click that link, what it does is it's going to navigate to the LoadSpring platform. Now, it does require me to log in, and this does work, by the way, for those of you who are using federated services or federated logins where your organization's login credentials are passed into the LoadSpring platform automatically, so you don't have to re-enter them. But here it is going to ask me to validate my credentials, and I'm going to log in as the owner of that case. And you'll see that it is navigating directly to the case, and you can see the case on the screen. So the nice thing is I don't have to log in to the platform. I land on the home screen, then hit support, then search for the case. Boom, it's going to take me directly to that case, and then I can come in and provide my resolution of my updates. All right. So continuing on with our enhancements, we also have made some enhancements on support cases. So whether you're a support administrator, a site admin, or a company admin, we've added a right-click menu now to support cases from the support case grid. And if you select your right mouse button while you're hovering over a case, you'll see that you can open the case, you can view quick case highlights, or you can actually just copy the case ID to the clipboard. That can be helpful if you're trying to paste that case ID into an email or for other uses. But you'll notice here on this display, I've right-clicked on case 640, and I selected case highlights. It then opened up phone information. I can quickly call this person without opening the case or waiting to open the case. I can see who it came in from, and I can get a description right here as well. This particular case is saying, hey, I don't have access to a drive in the file manager that I'd like to get access to. So what that looks like in the platform is, I'm going to go back to the support case grid. You'll see here's a list of all the cases that are raised in my organization. If I right-click, I can open the case, I can click case highlights, and here you'll see the case highlights dialog. Now, we are going to be adding in 805 a new capability to reassign the case directly from this dialog. So what'll happen sometimes is you may want to reassign the case from a company administrator to a site admin. You'll be able to reassign that, as we'll be adding that in a future release. All right. We also are continually focused on improving security within the platform. And we've had a request to say, you know, the challenge questions that are used when I want to reset my password, they by default were not hidden. And people had said, well, if someone's looking over my shoulder, or I'm in an open seating area where people might be able to see me enter my response, can you obscure that? So we did. We went ahead and obscured the answer. So now people cannot see it, and you can still view what that answer is. You'll see down at the bottom a link that says Show Answers. If you select that Show Answers button, you will want to hold it to view it, and then as soon as you let go of that link, it will then obscure the answers again. So this is something that if you click Show Answers, it's not going to leave and toggled on. You have to hold that button down. And that's kind of the industry standard for this. We've also required that these challenge questions for password resets are unique. We discovered that people were using the same response for every question, even though the questions were different. And that is just not as secure as we prescribe to. So now it does require them to be unique and be greater than 3 characters. I did get a question a while back about, hey Warren, are these super secure? And they are. Within the LoadSpring Platform database, everything is encrypted. So people who are saying, hey, if I get access to the database, can I see these responses? The answer is no. All of that is highly secured and encrypted. And so myself, some of my responses to my profile questions, I will use in other settings, such as with my bank. And so rest assured, these are super secret and highly protected from our platform. All right, now I want to talk about the improved license management capability we've added. And I'll set it up with this business problem. And this has come to me from several different organizations. Some of you that are on the call today said, hey, the way that I provision applications within the LoadSpring platform does not align with the way applications are licensed. So how do I manage my application licenses to the vendor's requirements through your license tracking capability? And we began to think about this, and we said, you're right. You know, it's interesting. When you take an application like, I'll take Primavera P6, for example. That's typically deployed through a series of application icons in the LoadSpring platform. You might have an icon for P6 Professional. You may have an icon available to you for P6 Web or P6 EPPM. You may also have one for a team member if your organization uses that, which is another application within P6. However, all 3 of those applications actually only consume 1 license of P6. So we've added a new category capability so that you can manage your licenses just like the vendor requires you to manage them. And what you're looking at on the screen is the license tracking report. Most people don't know about the by category submenu that's in the license tracking report. What this does is it aggregates all of those categories into, or all those applications and users into one category and give you a summarized ability to say how many unique users are assigned, what's my license count, and do I need to approach that vendor to purchase more licenses. We also give you information about recent activity and usage. So this is giving you, company admins, more ability to manage how you deploy these licenses. And what I'll do is walk through the steps to execute this within your cloud. It's a 3-step process. Step 1 is first you need to create your license categories. Step 2 is then to assign those categories to each application Step 3 is viewing the report. And so I'll walk you through each of those steps. You'll see the license category manager is actually reached through the Sites menu. And here's what it looks like. From the LoadSpring platform, just jumping back over to it, I'm going to go to the Sites menu, and there is a hidden menu here in the Sites menu. Sometimes you'll hear it referred to as the hamburger menu, but what this is when you select that, you'll see additional items that you can edit for your organization or the site, and you'll see an item called License Category Manager. So if I go ahead and just click the License Category Manager, you will see I can create different categories right here using this. And as an example, we have several of our customers might want to aggregate different, well, let's call it, I'll just say B2W as an example. We'll add the license category for B2W. We'll go ahead and click Save. Now this is going to go ahead and create that new license category that then I can assign to my applications, and we can start to track multiple icons for B2W against that summarized category level. Okay, that's step number 1, so creating that. Step number 2 is where we want to now go to each of the applications that are assigned to that site, and from there we want to, let me jump over here, we want to assign to the apps. So if I scroll down, you'll see we have in the Site Applications panel a cog that you will select to assign that license category. So you then would come over to the license category drop-down, you would select the license category for that app, and now you're ready to start reporting on license categories. In this example, you'll see we've got 29 users assigned to this one P6 professional icon, and you'll notice that I have just set it up with one license category called P6. Okay, once you do that, you then can go to step 3, which is viewing it. So if I come back to the platform here, I can click this cog. Here's, well, let me just click ArcGIS as an example. I don't have a category for ArcGIS, but if I did, I would click that cog that you see associated with it. It says license category. Select your category, then I could click, you know, what category applies to that. Okay, so that's how you would actually assign the category to the application itself. All right, and then once you do that, you can then just go view that report. And if I go back to the screen here, the report is on the license tracking report, and you just make sure you select this subcategory called by category, and you'll get that aggregated view. It's important to note that we do exclude test users from license counts. So test users might be a test user that was set up just to make sure that everything is working fine. Rest assured that's not in this license count mix. All right, jumping down to the tip for the week. One of the things that many people don't know is we have built connectors to these applications that also facilitate advanced user provisioning. And in this example that you see on the screen, if your organization uses an application such as Primavera P6, today, you know, you have to launch P6 Web. You then have to go in and configure for that user all the access elements within P6. Well, right from the LoadSpring platform, we've enabled you to do that without launching into P6 Web. No Java requirement, which P6 Web currently requires, depending on the version you're running. And you can come in, select your database, enable access for a user. You can select the global security profile, select application modules, select a resource to map that user to, and select which projects through the OBS node and project security profile you would like that user to access and to be able to access in P6. They can do it all in one simple dialog right here, and I'll show you that just briefly. Another capability is to clear P6 user preferences. So every now and then a layout may go berserk or corrupt in the platform. If you clear the preference, that clears that out. The user can then go in and begin working. Caution though, word of warning, if you're not familiar with clearing user
One second, everyone. It seems like Warren's having audio difficulties here. Okay, everyone, so we continue to have some technical difficulties here. In the meantime, we do have a couple of polls that we'd like to run just to get more information here on you on what you're interested in. So I'm going to launch the first poll. Okay. So for our next release, LoadSpring release 8.0.5, which enhancements are most critical to you? So if you can just take a few seconds there to select all the enhancements that would be critical to you, we would greatly appreciate it. Okay, just going to give it a couple more seconds there. Thank you everyone for responding. So I'm going to close the poll now. And I will share results. Okay, so concurrent user reporting was the main enhancement, followed by deleted user reporting and ability to enable or disable my social by site. So thank you all for participating. I will run the second poll now. So for LoadSpring release 8.0.5, which new capability would be most valuable to you? If you can select one of the three options below, and we'll give you a few seconds to answer there as well. All right, we're going to close the poll now. And share results. Okay. So number one, web-enabled file manager. Second, bulk user change. And third, expanding our LoadSpring Insight into a BI platform. Okay, so thank you for participating.
Hey, Christian, it's Warren. Can you hear me?
Hi, yes, Warren. Welcome back.
Yes. And it was interesting to see some of the results, especially that the web-enabled file manager seemed to be the lead for release 8.0.5. Okay. Well, hey, thank you, everybody. What that means is we want to invite you in to participate with what we select as new enhancements coming up, and with 8.05. We appreciate your participation in that. I'd have one more slide to show before we wrap up here, and feel free to continue to ask questions. We're going to leave the panel open so that you can continue to ask questions. Let's see, Christian can, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen here. I think you need to promote me again. All right, so what you see here within this slide is what we're targeting October 13th for the next release. Just so you're aware, we're on about every 6 to 8 week update cycle, and we are targeting to get that web-enabled file manager in by October 13th. And the bulk user change, what that allows you to do is disable users and or change dates for users, expiration dates in bulk, as well as a few other enhancements. So with that, Christian, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up and hand it back to you.
Thank you, Warren. We will now begin answering the questions submitted during today's webinar. As a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions pane on your attendee control panel. And Warren, our first question here is, and it was taken care of, but I believe it is relevant to the group. How does a user of the Insight tool, does a user of the Insight tool have to have a P6 license as well?
Well, what LoadSpring Insight is a dashboard tool that connects to the applications. And so if you are displaying data in Insight from Primavera P6, the organization would need to understand how that's licensed. And today, we use web services to connect to P6. So they do not need a full functional license. They need a web services license, which is substantially less in price. So the answer is yes, they need a license, but not a full functional license, the less expensive web services license.
Thank you, Warren. And we have another question here. Could you please show how we can launch P6 or EPPM or any application by using a shortcut on our computers instead of logging into the LoadSpring website?
Yeah, today we don't permit that. And the primary driver is security. Right now, what you can do is launch into the LoadSpring platform from your desktop, an icon on your desktop, and if your organization's using a federated login, then you don't even have to worry about logging in. It'll take you right into the platform, and then you launch that, and it will launch P6. Now, what we are doing is we're looking at some of the latest releases of being able to stream applications via new technologies that will allow us more freedom with launching those. But today you have to launch the LoadSpring platform to actually launch your Citrix-based applications, or in this case, Primavera P6.
All right, so we don't have any more questions coming in. So I'd like to thank you, Warren, and thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. Make the most of the new LoadSpring Cloud Platform 8.0.4. If you have any questions, please email us at information@loadspring.com, and our experts will get back to you shortly. You will also receive a follow-up email within 24 to 48 hours with the link to view a recording of today's webinar. So on behalf of the LoadSpring team, thank you for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day.